you.
All right, great. All right, so week three. Pretty much we're just going to consolidate what we did. And I saw, thank you everybody for getting back to me with the ads information. And then we're going to launch our first ads, and we're going to start with creating audiences for middle of funnel and or bottom of funnel. And then talk about the funnels overall and the ads that we'll write for next week. I haven't had a chance to review all the ones that you just sent. I actually just ate lunch, so I missed those. But yeah, we will start with these funnels. So I'm taking a look for the first time at some of yours. So does anybody want to start maybe with their funnel and talking through what they've provided?
So let me ask Lauren, just so and to also to recap what I've heard or sort of a direction I've had from Richard. We're going to be doing tests for is it ET Water and Jain Logic? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's kind of up to us. We can do whatever we want. I figured we could launch one or two or maximum three different funnels.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Alan and Monica, did you prepare? Is your what you prepared specifically for? Oh, I see what you did. I don't.
go by funnels. I think that's where I made a mistake.
Oh no. But we'll talk about them together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did mine. This is mine.
Yep.
I wrote all the three funnels and the audience for the funnels.
Okay.
And, this is just for agrologics.
Okay.
Agrologics, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think that's what Richard said last week. Not Jain Logic, but Agrologics. Is that yeah?
Yep.
For ag, yeah.
Should we start
ET
and
Water,
talk?
Sorry, Lauren.
Oh, should we start with that one and talk through kind of how we're gonna get people in our funnel and then through it?
Sure.
Okay, cool, great. Alan, would you like to talk about it?
Okay. Yeah. So agrologics mostly has to do with satellite imaging.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically sends you weekly ETC reports, and it does not require sensors in your field, so it helps you increase your profits. So Richard wrote a blog on that 2 weeks ago. So this the top of the funnel. This is the ad for the top of the funnel, and this would go, and this would. And the target audience for this would be all farmers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So once they click and read the blog, we will also have a form on the blog, like a call to action form. And there are two ways to do this. If they fill out the form, we would move them to the bottom of the funnel. After we send them a demo link. But if they just read the blog and don't fill up the form, we will move them to the middle of the funnel.
Awesome. Okay, great. And oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you have a link to that blog post at all?
Yes. If you just go to jainsusa.com/blog.
Why didn't you put the link on there, Alan?
Yeah, I should have.
Oh no. Let's see.
It's the third. Watch your agriculture profits go. Yeah, that one.
Okay, cool. And so
putting a form at the end of the blog here.
Okay.
It's a brief blog.
Excellent. Okay. Cool. I'll add that link, and I should have put a link there or to the template. It's a very rough kind of template, and so then we'll add the form.
Yes. We'll add the form.
The form, Alan, are you offering something, a free report of any kind, or?
No, just a request a demo form, we are still not talking about the 30-day trial for the top of the funnel. Because they wouldn't.
Okay, yep. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No worries. So now we're just showing them on how to increase their profits. We're not talking about sensors or something like that. Say if they did not fill form, the next part is the middle of the funnel. The next ad. So middle of the funnel has two types of audience. One is the people who read the previous blog, and one is like the people who are interested in soil moisture sensors. Okay, so these are the two audience that we will be targeting this ad to.
Yep.
Why do you say soil moisture sensors? Because soil moisture sensors are expensive, right? So this satellite imaging is cheaper than soil moisture sensing. So that is why I selected these two audiences.
What was the other one, Alan?
Can you open it? What is the Wi-Fi? Yeah. The reason I selected two audiences is so that since soil moisture sensing is expensive, right? So we will be advertising the second ad to these two audiences.
Who are the two audiences?
One who have read the previous blog, the previous top of the funnel blog, and the second is growers interested in soil moisture sensing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So one thing that I think that I would do is the people who are interested in soil moisture sensing, we actually want to change their beliefs, right? We want them to say, oh, wait, no, satellite is better, right?
Yeah. We want them to say satellite is cheaper.
That's correct.
Oh, cheaper. Okay. It's between us? Is it also better or just cheaper?
Cheaper.
No, cheaper. Because soil moisture sensing can give you the details about your soil like right now.
Yep.
But satellite can give you for the last week.
Oh,
so we don't tell them that disadvantage. Yeah.
Okay.
You're right, Lauren. It's a little bit of a conversion, but we don't want to go up after someone blind because they're going to have no idea what we're talking about. So it's mostly the conversion from something that previously required hardware in the field to something you can do remotely with just a web browser now.
Yeah. I think so. This is excellent so far, and I love the way that you're thinking about it. I think you're dead on everything. But I would maybe, instead of targeting the two different audiences for middle of funnel, I would target the two audiences for top of funnel and do this would be soil moisture sensing people and sensing, and then target all farmers.
Sure.
And then I would actually run a split test across both of them. Does that make sense? And the why?
Sure. And we can run split testing on that way. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. I can see what you were thinking too, because they're already aware of the problem, and so they're a more sophisticated cold audience. But we have to, it may help them align with our beliefs from the beginning, and that's the only reason why I moved them to top of funnel. But okay, so you could keep going, and so far this is excellent. I really like the reduce equipment, labor, water costs, increase profits. You really hit on good things.
Keep in mind, though, guys, we do sell soil sensors and monitoring control systems as well. So we don't want to badmouth that technology too much. We just want to offer them an alternative, maybe if that hardware isn't, like you said, isn't cost efficient for the system, but it's not like we're competing against another company. We also sell that service, just to be clear, Lauren, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. Also, I hear you're in Mexico.
I'm literally sitting at the border waiting to cross right now.
Oh no, so it's not the exciting Mexico anymore.
No.
Okay. Well, welcome to the call.
No worries.
So maybe like for people who maybe it's cost prohibitive, to have soil
right. It's an alternative. It's it's not necessarily a direct replacement for it. It's just, it was originally kind of, the technology was brought on as not a plug-in, but in our software you can also use these services as an additional resource, not necessarily just on its own. And it's not apples to apples exactly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so
And
yeah.
and once they what do you say again, on the bottom of the funnel, I was a little confused with the middle of the funnel, but I don't know what article goes in there or what page goes in there. So I
Okay.
needed help from you and the team.
Mhm.
But bottom of the funnel is like what we discussed earlier. We would be giving them a free trial, and uh, no credit card required, 30-day free trial, and yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is a really good start, and
Would call them.
it's looking good. I think so. Maybe Michael, you can answer this in the field. Do you feel like there's a lot more selling that you need to do before you convert farmers and get them to sign up for a demo?
I don't know. So I think it's two different approaches. I think one approach is kind of like what Alan's doing here is, we just want people to know that we excel in technology. And if their first introduction to our platform is this resource, then that's great. And then the other way to go about it is, as you mentioned, as well. So I think we target existing users of our technology, or existing growers and farmers that already use soil sensing and crop sensing. And then I think there's also what Alan's doing here, which is anyone that's poking around Jain, let them know that this is the scope of our product offering. It goes beyond just sprinklers. It goes all the way into satellite imagery. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that's great. Cool. So one thing that popped out in my head, and I didn't discuss it earlier, is this part of, I think that maybe it makes sense. We're going to pixel the person when they land on the blog post, and we need to have two different sorts of tracking so that we can later go on and stock them with the middle of funnel ads. And the first one is the form filling out the actual form. And, we want to track how many people do we convert on that out of 100. And then, we can always, if we notice that it's lower than we would like, then we might change that call to action. Instead of sign up for a demo, maybe it's sign up for this free resource or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Bait the water.
Yeah. And see if there's, if they need different information or more information. And I would fill in this middle of funnel with even more information about all of the objections that you can think about. If we can answer those before, hey, we know that this is something that you're worried about. Then those are the types of things we throw into the middle of the funnel so that we can get them to say, because top of funnel, they don't even know about you. Maybe they know about Jain, maybe they don't. Or, maybe they know about AgriLogics, maybe they don't. But you're saying, hey, you're techie like me. look, we offer some things for your problems. And then middle of funnel, they're looking, they know they have the problem, and they're just seeing why you're better than their alternatives. And then bottom of funnel is where, they're going to sign up for that free trial. So this is a great start. Does this make sense kind of along the path that we're going?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, you're trying to lead with awareness and then follow through with the true believers to get the info from them.
Yeah, definitely. And so because this top of funnel and middle of funnel is so maybe
Similar.
like it's a lot more intensive to start. One thing we can start to do today, if we choose that this is the one that we want to put live today, is we could start with this bottom of funnel, and we can, maybe people who have signed up for a demo, I don't know what that volume looks like today, anywhere on the website for AgriLogics, then we can, or wait, no, it wouldn't be a demo. It would be like, if they've shown interest. Is it something that you sell online?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
I don't know, Alan. Can they get the service without being a Jain Logic, so like without having our software?
Yes. Basically, AgriLogics would just send them emails every week.
Just the reports.
Yes.
So Lauren, anybody could sign up potentially, and then I think we typically would pay just a couple bucks, or it's like $12 a month or $1 a month, and then they would get the field reports on their property. And then Alan, is it limited by space or anything like that? I mean, if someone's got 100 acres or 10 acres, how does the price differ? Is it by acre?
I don't know what's their current pricing, but their initial pricing was $1 an acre, but I'm not sure about their current price.
So Lauren, how do you market something that only costs $1 as free?
Great.
Yeah.
Lead at top of funnel, $1 an acre.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That to me, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, holy cow, that's a great offer.
It is, yeah, and that's why I want to be clear. We don't want to push someone away from our $2,000 software to $1 a month and then think that they're sold. It's supposed to kind of work in tandem to our Jain. So what I think we do is we lead with what you guys are doing here to try to attract attention to Jain Logic, the higher end product, and say, look, we'll give you a year free or 3 months free, and in exchange, you get a trial of Jain Logic. But basically, it's a subsidiary of the larger, more expensive software.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really cool. I mean, $1 an acre, that's ridiculously inexpensive, and the value of that and the way that, based on what I know about your market, it feels like they don't even necessarily know that they have a problem. And this gets them thinking about it every time they get an email every week.
Correct. I mean, remember though, Lauren, a lot of these guys have thousands of acres. So
True.
What they typically do is if it's flat and you have a consistent soil across your whole property, then you would only need, a few of the acres as kind of a reference point for your watering habits. But if you have grade changes and you're on the side of the mountain and there's sunlight change, sun exposure changes, then, you're going to pick key acreage across your lot to get that information from. And so we want to make sure that if someone sees $1 an acre and they've got 400 acres and it's $1 a month, they're going to say, well, that's $400 a month. I'd rather have the software. So we just need to, make sure that's all clear.
Yeah. And that, when you said about, how to pick the right acreage across your lot, if it's largely uniform, and maybe if you have 400 acres, we're going to help you turn it into $4 a month. Because we're going to pick,
exactly,
and that is really cool. They get into it, and that I think is really good middle of funnel. Hey, you're thinking about this offer. Now we're going to help you customize this offer to you. And even middle of funnel, I might, maybe they download a guide on how to pick your 4 acres or your 1 acre that represents your entire, land, or
maybe we explain the variables that they get in the report to show them the value of that report per acre. And then what we would follow up with is to show them the corresponding monitoring control equipment or hardware we could sell to them to make sure they water. Because remember, this is just a photo with info on the property. The satellite doesn't irrigate it. So it's giving them, kind of a test, a pH test of their site, and then the follow-up is to then tell them how to irrigate, when to irrigate, where to irrigate, and how.
Yeah.
Alan, does that make sense, man? I'm not trying to like step on your thing. I'm looking at it. It looks great.
Yeah. It totally
okay, cool. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I think that it's interesting because I feel, and this happens to me all the time, is like when you're in your own product, it feels like everybody knows about it, but actually you're such an expert, and all of you are such experts. It takes so many more layers. When you start to peel the onion back, there's like, oh wow, people would find that really interesting. Whereas probably you in your head, you're like, oh yeah, everybody already knows this. But I think for a lot of people, it's like really, I would say, life-changing information. So this is great.
We have no shortage of solutions. Typically, Lauren, that is the challenge we all have at each of our BUs is, we don't want to sell more of one thing than the other. We're trying to bring them in as a complete system solution. We have a solution for everybody. And what that technology does is it's an easy way to preface, solutions. And this will tell us very upfront, very obtusely what direction, what road we're going to point you down, or what funnel potentially we're going to point you towards product-wise.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So does that make sense? Do we want to kind of flesh this out more, or do we want to move to another funnel? How are you all feeling?
My only confusion was I didn't know the funnel was like a specific ad campaign. I thought as you'll see, none of my ads make sense together. They're all individual ads that I thought would randomly pop up. Now I kind of see the breadcrumb strategy and what you guys are saying as these are the people we bring in first. This is where they go second. This is potentially where they go third. Now I see how the marketing funnel works towards a singular ad, kind of singular ad development. I was thinking more shotgun style, like, hey, these are the 4 or 5 ads that if they pop up, they will bring awareness and then funnel down or go down the funnel. So my homework is a C- at best.
Oh, well, no, it can't be that. If anything, it was my fault. I should have been more clear. So,
No worries.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Should we continue down this?
Alan, I don't want to speak for you or Kevin, but I think what you've done here is great. I think that it looks like the direction this goes is the teaser for ultimately Jain Logic or the more intuitive software, or we break it up as you've done into multiple steps. But the call to action or the action item, I think, still needs to be clarified because we need to figure out what we're going to give somebody once they follow through with the whole thing.
I was thinking once they are done with the 30-day trial, we can after that we can either tell them to continue with AgroLogics or upsell them Jain Logic for real-time monitoring.
Gotcha. And do we do that, Lauren, with a separate marketing funnel altogether? So that would be kind of a separate chain of ads?
So what I would do here is awareness, and then how to pick your acres, basically, and all of that I would do in hopes of getting them to this 30-day trial. And then once they hit the 30-day trial, I would kick them out of this funnel. So here, we're going to have all farmers, and then, farmers into technology solutions. And we're going to make sure to exclude anyone who's already a Jain Logic customer so that, we're not downselling anyone. And then, we're giving them info in this middle of funnel on how it can help and how to pick the right acres, that kind of thing. And then we hit them with the 30-day trial. And maybe for the 30-day, they might convert on this one to the 30-day trial, in which case we don't have to serve them any of these ads here. As soon as they get through, we kick them out of this and we move them into, after they're part of 30-day. I think that, Michael, what you're saying is really good. Then we can hit them with another, I don't know if they're kind of in the same funnel, but it's just for Jain Logic. Because here in the 30-day trial, you're already going to be kind of communicating with them, right? Sort of saying, here's why you want to stay on as a paying customer.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I would assume anybody that's signing up for even the 30-day trial, we're gonna start working with them because they're gonna need some support on how to read the report, figure it out, log on, stuff like that. We'll have to make contact.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So through that onboarding and nurture process, you're going to hope to bring them on as a paying customer. And then you'll want to upsell them to something more sophisticated. Is there any case where someone who's using AgriLogics and this satellite imaging isn't a good fit for other solutions?
Poor people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, a small farmer who's got 10 acres can go and stick his hand in the ground and figure out what a satellite can figure out.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that the technology is appealing to not necessarily farmers of all sizes, but the main farmers that we want to concentrate on, I think when we got the presentation was, 100 acres or more. These are the people that are going to have the income where they can ultimately invest in our higher end products, which is what we're ultimately trying to sell, is the higher margin stuff, which is Jain Logic and the software. So that's how I saw this as more of an introduction. This shows you how wrong you're doing it now, and we want to show how right you can do it with our system solutions.
Yeah. Okay. So then we'll put them into this funnel. And one thing I would do is, do you have somewhere in your system where it says 100 plus acres, 100 minus acres?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
it's just that's typically the cutoff. I mean, anyone under 100 acres is going to be spending a certain amount of money on water. I don't even know if it's 100. I'm just saying that there is a cutoff. But basically, our ag sales guys, they're not going to drive out to a site that's 10 acres. Typically, the people that are going to be contacting us are, I want to say 50 acres, 60 acres or more. They're going to be the ones that are going to get the ROI from, a $3,000 software, management software.
Okay. Okay. So we'll figure out in the targeting, if we can really easily exclude the people who own 10 acres.
Or at least not let them get further involved in the funnel where it starts trying to push software on them. As an introductory product, don't get me wrong, it'd be great if, a 10-acre hemp farmer in Oregon wants to get satellite imagery through AgriLogics. We're not going to turn anybody down. But as far as the trail of breadcrumbs or further down the funnel, we just want to exclude the smaller guys and make sure that we're aiming towards the larger commercial producers, so they're not getting redundant information.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So then I would consider anyone who is now a paying customer or on the 30-day trial, we upsell them with other ads. And then how would you, people typically who are in who are using AgriLogics, how do you upsell them today?
Alan, you want to go or you want me to go?
Oh, you go. I don't know.
So it's a pretty new technology. We actually borrow the satellite from the federal government, Lauren, and I think people know that. So what we do is we use their satellites to get this imagery, and then it's the software that we have that is going to break down, the heat indexing and different moisture content in the stomata of the plant. And so by getting those variables, we're going to tell you when and where to water. So basically, if somebody has a huge amount of inefficiencies amongst their acreage, those are the people that we're going to target first and say, look, you guys are pouring, thousands of gallons of water in the wrong place. You should really consider some more consistent irrigation methods, and blah blah blah. Here's your offers.
Oh wow, interesting.
So we're looking for inefficiencies in the system. Yeah.
And is that typically on a one-on-one, like one-by-one basis, or does that tend to happen like everybody in the Central Valley, or like everybody in this part of the Central Valley tends to have a really bad system?
Yeah, so that's kind of where I think this company, when they were on their own for the few years, that's where they tapered off in being in popularity, because they didn't have that connection and that system solution. And so what we are trying to do is use this as, once again, an upsell for our products, the efficiency that they bring. But what's going to happen is when you have, once again, is they have giant acreage even in the valley, they have soil content changes, and saturation points are different. So maybe one side of your property gets better water saturation in the soil than the other. So it's such a deep conversation that I think we really want to spark their interest with this technology, because it's going to bring to them their inefficiencies, and then we're going to have that conversation. I mean, that's why it's a really complex ad campaign. But if it brings awareness to our product and our brand, then that's really the best thing it can do. And then
yeah, I think that let's see. I'm trying to think of a good way to say this, but it's like almost. Oh, for example, have you heard about the Nike shoes, the Air Vaporflies? The Vaporflies, that they're so fast that these marathon runners, they're breaking their personal record times. And it's like, I didn't even know that I needed those shoes, and I don't need those shoes. But then, I heard they were thinking about banning them, and then I started seeing other runners next to me who are faster than me, passing me along the Hudson River. And all of a sudden I thought, holy cow, I got to get those shoes. I almost feel like if you tell case studies and stories about, look what we did with your neighbor or someone who only lives 100 miles from you, and look at the inefficiencies that we found when working with them.
Getting somebody, I think the company had issues with getting companies to admit their inefficiencies, because a lot of them have huge contracts with people.
Okay.
So we did, but what we can do is we can still show it generically. We can say, look, Farm A didn't use the technology, Farm B did. And so there's just a generic comparative. As far as imagery goes, I think that's profound. We saw the presentation on this technology initially. When you see one before and one after it's irrigated properly through this technology, it made a big deal. So we could potentially do that with imagery for sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I think that once they're in that funnel, they're already kind of on board, right? They're already aware. And then it's almost like a funnel within a funnel. And this imagery, the A/B, I think that's all really, really good. Is there anything else? Any other resources or educate? Oh yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Another advantage Agrologics has is crop vigor. So I was just Googling to see what that is.
Okay.
Michael, do you know what that is? I think it tells you how happy your plants are, but I don't know the technical part of it. But that's an advantage of Agrologics over Jain Logic, because Jain Logic does not tell you your crop vigor. And
It's a good insight.
yeah,
I'm going through the border, guys. 1 second, sorry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. Okay.
it tells you your. So I googled it, and it says crop vigor is your plant's response to the environment, water supply, nutrition and temperature.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that is something it tells you from the satellite. And if you go to that blog post on the other link, they have a screenshot of that on the other tab. And if you scroll down, yeah, this one.
Okay.
Yeah, this. So it tells you where your plants are unhappy in the red color, So that's not your soil. That's your plants.
Okay.
And this is the second product, that is Hyperview, that tells you your crop vigor. Hyper Grow, the first product, tells you your ETC.
Okay.
So this is something Jain Logic does not do today.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that that is another really good advantage that we would put middle of funnel for AgriLogics. You know,
Sure.
hey, if you can't see this today, sign up for this 30-day trial, and here's an example of what we'll show you.
And this would make them buy the whole acreage, because now you can track each and every plant.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that might be something, once we get really granular in this, you know, it might be something where you would target people who you know own 100 acres and maybe they're subscribed for 4, and it would be an upsell. It's just a potential option for the future.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Lauren, it's sometimes the sampling. Just because you have 100 acres doesn't mean you need 100 acres mapped out. Or to Alan's point, you know, maybe we give them the first acre and they're like, wow, you know, that's just, I would love to have 10 acres. Even if we could get them to sign up for 10, then it would help.
Yeah. Cool. Great. This is, I think, where it gets really fun, is because you start to get really granular and then up your retention, up your average value, like customer lifetime value, all of that.
Yeah, at the same time, it adds a complexity to it, because ultimately we're trying to drive everyone to our hard goods. The goal at the end here is everyone needs to buy our sprinklers and our tubing, because that's what we make in America. That's what we profit on the most. So the technology, you know, is an in route for the hard goods. And so the further we go from hard goods, sometimes the more difficult it becomes to, you know, to get people to it. Like to go from satellite imagery to extruded or tubing, you can see how many steps are in between.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure we don't lose our focus, which is ultimately driving people to our hard goods as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And based on that, you know, I would sprinkle in your hard goods throughout this funnel.
I agree.
And I think too, you know, this is a place where you, especially once your Facebook pixel starts to get seasoned, where you can sort of sprinkle it in, and Facebook at some point knows when they're ready and when they're not, which is so scary. But yeah.
Right.
Cool.
I shop broader with my ideas. As you can see, Alan gets an A+, but I shot just for true brand awareness, which was, you know, hey, here's a farmer in a field. Do you know what corn looks like? Just please talk to us about something, and then we go from there. So I kind of did the opposite, but now this is all making sense to me. It's a little more, there's some pinpoint accuracy to how where we're driving them, how we're driving them, and then it trickles down to where we want them to go.
Yeah. But I mean, also there's nothing wrong with that brand awareness, because, you know, it shows that you care about educating, and some of those people will convert. And, you know, when it comes to Facebook, it's kind of great, because if something doesn't connect, if you're not ready to, like, it won't show the users that if they don't think that they're going to convert on it. So it can't hurt to figure out where that might fit into the funnel, and it can't hurt to try them out, because everything is just an A/B test. So
we can run these all in tandem and parallel, Lauren. Like we can run this potential like AgriLogic kind of funnel, and then also be running just general brand awareness ads and then general hard good ads as well, or do we have to take one road at a time?
We can definitely run all of them in tandem.
Okay.
Yeah. And typically what we do is, like, with we do a rapid fire test, and where we figure out which audiences we want to target first, and then once we figure out which audience is interested, then, or responding the most, this is sort of like our lowest hanging fruit, our easiest target pool, and then we'll test a ton of different hooks on them. And, this is what corn looks like. It might be, that we might run that against all of these different, hey, you should check out satellite imagery. And this is why that's, so then we would test those two against each other.
Gotcha.
And then, and sort of think about how, like which hook is working better. And then we might, if say we find out that one is more expensive than the other, then we'll pause that one and then move forward with the other one.
Gotcha. So we can pretty much do no wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
We could just do more right than some, as we'll find out as we hit our target audiences effectively.
Yep. Yeah. And we'll control that budget so that, we're not going to walk out at the door and be like, oh, we burned $1,000 on bad leads. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So how do we feel about, does this make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And so let's see.
This is four ads. Oh, sorry, there's delay. There's four ads, Alan. Like how many ads? I see the marketing spectrum has like maybe 6 different levels to it. How long? Like how many ads do we want before we get to the bottom or the top, before we start selling them on hard goods or on a full Jain Logic subscription or things like that? Because we don't want to lead them on for too long with these ads. So how long, like how many does it typically take?
So as soon as they read the first blog, they automatically get sent to the next funnel. So say they didn't request for the demo, they will be served because the Facebook pixel will track that particular page's audience for the next ad, right, Lauren? That's how we would do it, right?
That's how right, Lauren?
Yeah. I would also, if you're willing to spend the time on this, I would actually venture that it's great to have this blog post, but I would also have a landing page that says something to the effect of, what is the offer and why is it great? That's really just focused on the benefit. It's this old thing of you make the customer look like Super Mario. So make them, show them their game and show them how they can be the hero if they just enter their email in this box.
That's all they have to do.
Yeah, super easy. And so, yeah, I would, because this, I'm in reading mode here, and sometimes it's really cool to kind of go just into a landing page where I say, enter your email, show us your, geolocation, maybe it's 2 fields, and you're going to get an email on Thursday that tells you, your crop rigger or whatever the terminology is. And, then it's really straightforward. There's nothing else. I think about when I'm on the internet and I end up like on a gazillion tabs and I don't know what I'm doing and I forget. So we have to rely on this really short attention span and give them only one choice. And then test, all right, are more people, are they converting on the end of this blog post? Or are they going to this landing page and entering their email and their location or whatever it is?
Alan, is it a complex process to sign up for this technology, Hypergrow and Hyperlogic?
Yes. So it was a complex process. They sent Jeff Toole and Richard sent me the form, and there were so many. What do you say?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But what I was going to do, I recommended Richard saying that let's take first, last name, email, address, zip code, and once they sign up for that, we'll make a rep, like a customer service rep, to call them and get the rest of the form filled. Because if you look at that form, you will run away from AgriLogics. It's like this big, yeah.
Right, and that's why I asked. So, Lauren, that landing page you're talking about, it's either a very general, once again, a general kind of description of the technology and what it does, or it's not only that, but also how to fill out the more comprehensive report to get the exact. So to be clear, we either our action item is we send them to a page and they learn about the technology, or our action item is to get that info that Alan just discussed to me, which sounds like two different action items, which could be potentially two different landing pages. So we would want to be clear on exactly what that action item would be.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, another way that I've seen this done a lot is, so you might make this your top of funnel, middle of funnel call to actions, and then target people who maybe they entered their first name, last name, email address, zip code, and they need to finish their onboarding process. You might send them an ad that says, hey, you signed up for AgriLogics, but we can't send you this email on Thursday unless you give us your extra info. So give us your extra info. You know, kind of just putting the bait in front of them. It's only going to be 30 more seconds. That's all you need to give us. So that I think works well too.
It would be nice though, like you're saying, Alan, if we didn't even have to get, you know, we're such a small team. It would be so great if we could at least get like their address out of them without having to make human contact up front, because I mean, it's just going to be such an abstract sales process. Like, hey, we have the zip code of where this guy is, and that's it. I mean, you're kind of passing the diligence onto a sales guy. Any information we can get up front without complicating the process is definitely beneficial to us in sales.
Yeah, and we can get the street address on that form, like I said. But AgriLogics is a little more complicated. So the farmer has to send them a KML file, and not all farmers know about KML or what KML does.
What?
KML. It's basically a Google Earth file where they part of
It's a requirement?
Yeah, it's a requirement. And I don't think a lot of people are going to fill that. But when Monique used to work here, she told me that she used to build the KML for the farmers who didn't have a KML file already. So that is why I was thinking of just taking in the street address, and a customer service rep will call them and ask them, do you already have a KML file? If not, we can build one for you.
Gotcha. Okay. B+, sorry.
And that is why I didn't want to ask the farmer a lot of questions. Just first name, last name, street address, and tell the customer. Yeah, and then tell the customer service reps to call them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Interesting.
I can send you guys the form if you all want.
Yeah, I think, Lauren, you're seeing some of the complexities that we deal with when we're marketing these products. Is you know, there's such process behind getting them the end, what they're actually buying, and so to give them to anything free without it taking the same amount of effort it does that we're not charging for from our sales team is difficult. And something like this, you know, that's why I think we bring them in with the dollar promotion, but ultimately we want to get someone involved. But to get a sales guy involved, the end game has to be selling them Jain Logic. No sales guy is going to want to call someone for a $12 a month customer, you know.
Definitely. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I would be interested in that form and seeing what we can do. Not only to not only to get their info, but I think we have to also qualify them, right? So maybe you have to have another form field that says, and what's your total acreage? Or something like that, to make sure that if you do spend that extra effort on them, it's not a $12 customer, it's a, you know,
Right.
$3-4 grand.
It's worth everyone's time.
Yeah.
And we can also have a checkbox on that form saying that, are you interested in real-time monitoring as well?
Well, I mean, the idea though, Alan, is they don't know. They don't know if they're interested because they're not going to know until they get the report that says they're doing a bad job out there, which is the point of this. So, yeah, so I think the top of the marketing spectrum is we bring them in with the $1 a month. The $1 a month, they're like, wow, this is a great deal. This is all I need to fix my whole system. And then by the time they're done with the spectrum, they're thinking about investing in the hardware, which is going to solve the problems that this cheaper report is going to provide them with the variables.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but I just looked at the time.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm like the worst time manager. Let's see. So based on this, we have 7 minutes left on our call, and I don't want to, I want to be really respectful of your time. What do you think we should do from here? Should we focus on this? And then Kevin, I know that you probably have a funnel that you want to do. Do you want to also do that? How are you feeling? Should we all focus on this?
Let's get this campaign going.
Okay.
There is some, and I'm happy to deal with you on a separate call, Lauren, as you're available to keep the ET water moving forward.
Yep.
I have, I sent you some ad artwork, some assets that have messages, awareness messages. We could use top of funnel, but I think there's some work to be done here in the AgriLogics campaign, particularly in terms of landing pages, new landing pages, or modifying of existing blog posts and that to capture information. I think we need to get an adding pixels in that. I think let's button that up so that we can get off here with an A/B test in that of AgriLogics. So.
Yeah. I think that we, like you said, Michael, it's pretty sophisticated, and I think I think uncovering that is a really good thing. And if you're up for it, maybe over the next week, if we can, keep working sort of in tandem, maybe via email or whatever. And I think that the next step would be maybe we can I'll turn this into a nice Google Doc where we have a funnel, and I'll put some numbers to it so that we can say, okay, here's the amount that we expect to convert people, and here's this next step, so that we can see it laid out really clearly. And then I'll start to write some ads, and you can all write some ads as you see fit. And then next week we'll go and we'll plug everything into Facebook so that it's really clear. And then Alan, you and I can work on these landing pages and adding the form into the blog posts. And is anybody else interested in that? Do you want us to record our work so you can kind of watch it, or invite you to the meeting optionally, or should we just let Alan and I do it, or what do you think?
I'd love it if you record it. I guess. I mean, it'll be a template to replicate for ET Water, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. We're getting to this really exciting meaty part. I'm so excited. I know that it's taking a little bit longer than we expected. I guess this usually happens with everything. But yeah, if that sounds good to everybody, I think that sounds like a good plan of attack, where by tomorrow I'll send an email with some more clarity around this funnel that we started creating, and you can go in and give me feedback, change it, make it better based on, all your knowledge of how the sales cycle goes and, of your own product.
Fantastic.
Are there any other questions or anything else that you want to address in these last 4 minutes?
What do we have for next steps, Lauren? You're going to have a separate call with Alan?
Yeah, I think I'll have this call with Alan. I'll send this email with, what this looks like. Basically what I'm going to create is this sample funnel of, all right, stage 1, awareness, stage 2, sign up for AgriLogics, stage 3, really sign up for AgriLogics, stage 4, Jain logic and hard goods, or some sort of variation of that, and you can correct me wherever I might have some of the terminology or flow wrong. And then we'll talk about what each ad might be, and then we'll come back around, connect that with these ad examples that you already started. Does that sound good?
Fantastic.
Um, is there any other questions or anything else that you want to address in these last 4 minutes? Yeah, I think I'll have this call with Alan. I'll send this email with some more clarity around this funnel that we started creating, and you can all write some ads. And then we'll come back around, connect that with these ad examples that you already started.
Yeah, I was hoping we could, as you'll see in my homework, we were starting with something a little more simple than satellite imaging. So I could grasp, just how to sell a sprinkler to somebody through Facebook, much less our most complex technology, pushing them to the more complex monitoring technology. But leave it to Alan to shoot for the stars. So if this is our example, then great. I'll do my best. I know he probably did, because I understand.
What did you work up, Michael?
I worked up like just general, like, hey, it's springtime. Visit our website to learn more about our drip line, and we're going to be at World Ag. Kind of just very broad strokes to bring in, so we can see if anybody's even interested in Jain or agriculture or farming on Facebook in general, before we figure out that there's 8 guys in the Fresno Valley that may be interested in AgroLogic, and we shoot really our net wide, and then we work backwards, as opposed to we pick literally the most complex thing we sell to lead with. And I think when we don't know how to build a Facebook ad at all, or much less the Facebook marketing spectrum, it's kind of overcomplicating the process. And I just don't want it to do that, because I'm already kind of getting lost in where we're at in this process.
Okay. You know what? Let's take on both. And Michael, I saw your previous imagery that I responded to. I think what I'll do is put everything in one central repository, and maybe if you want to add me as like a single channel guest on your Slack, or I can add you all to my Slack, or we can communicate via email, but basically some way that where we start to put all this together.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I didn't want to I didn't want you to have to work with all 3 of us separately. I know that's the point of a conference call, is we knock it all out at once. But as you're seeing, there's complexity. Kevin's got ET Water, Alan's got whatever Richard's hot item is, and then I've got everything. So when I'm thinking of Facebook ads, I'm thinking of just that, like, hey, if they're a farmer, they see a farmer, hey, this is where I click, and that's where we start. But I can understand everybody having what they do.
Yeah, and I think we covered that too, Michael. And you Cole, you weren't on last week in terms of throwing out what we want to just do. Things that Lauren was showing us about lack of our competitors on advertising on Facebook. We have a unique opportunity, and some basic catalog awareness was discussed last week. So if that makes sense, Lauren, I mean that's certainly. Even if we can go from there, Michael completed the new catalog. It's available now on the website, and that we could just see what type of general traffic we could drive just to download.
Just get some metrics. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds great. Okay. Awesome. Well,
that way each week we're not, Lauren, sorry. That way each week we're not moving forward week after week without any metrics. I figured if we could just start getting some Jain generic ads out there while we're also working on the more intuitive ads that follow all this stuff, we also were like, oh, by the way, we had nobody even click on our generic one, which will give us some feedback. Or the opposite. We had 2,000 people click on it from California. So now we know how to go about the next more complex, specific ad campaign, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds good. We'll work to get this live this week, and I'll record that, and we'll schedule some meetings, and you can join if you want or whatever, or just watch, or we'll figure that out, and then we'll work on this bigger funnel, and we'll come back around as well for ET Water.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you all. I'm like so excited. Really, this is going to be so fun.
Yeah, I know when it's actually live and working and everything. Yeah, that's gonna have the payoff.
Yeah. So we're almost there.
Excellent.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
I will tell you, Lauren. There is a goal to be able to report to executive management by the end of January that we have initiated Facebook ads. So if we're able to. Next week will already be the 27th, 28th when we talk again. I guess you'll talk to Alan and that before then, get these teed up. But if we can get one of these launched in that by the end of the month, so we can we can check that box off, that'd be great.
Okay. And what matters to them the most? Would it be vanity metrics? That's usually with my clients. They want to see that they're brand awareness, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
For starters, yeah. And then of course, yeah, and then over time, Lauren, everything that we've been talking about today actually leads to close. But
Okay.
but out the door awareness. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll focus first on this brand lift, and then we'll work on the sales. Then that's great. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lauren.
Cool.
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Lauren.
one. Talk to
Yep.
you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.